I have partnered up with Alois to make some champion-specific guides for the Summoner School website. I tried to put a ton of information in every single one of these guides. Currently, I've made 3 champion guides for the Summoner School website. I have made a Garen guide, a Warwick guide, and a Mordekaiser guide. In these guides, you will find stuff like explaining all the runes, the items, matchups, and so on. And on top of every single video that the guide provides, there is also a matchup spreadsheet for every single one of these guides. If you wish to check out one of these guides, the link to the website will be in the video description. Now, with this introduction out of the way, please enjoy this video. I would say this is a skill matchup, but one where I think overall Mordekaiser has the advantage actually. What you want to do for the most part is just permapoke with Q and use your W to soak up as much damage as you can. This is also why you start Doran's shield and you have that second wind and revitalize. Most of the time you just walk up and press Q and then you want to walk away. You're gonna have a pretty hard time lining up your E, but your Q should be able to hit most of the time. And this is because whenever Teemo goes to auto attack you and Q you can do your own Q while he's in that animation. But he can also fake an auto attack or fake a Q. He can start to walk towards you and then at the last second he turns away. And then he can re-engage onto you with his W speed. What I like to do most of the time is rush Mercury treads so I can get that tenacity for his blind. It's actually surprisingly annoying. If you are blinded, you cannot auto attack and as such you cannot stack your passive, and your passive will drop off if you have no spells available. It's also worth to note the fact that when you use your ultimate, any shrooms that he places on Summoner's Rift will not follow into the Death Realm. And the same goes for any shrooms that are placed in the Death Realm, they will not follow back on Summoner's Rift once the ultimate is done. What you can also do is swap your yellow trinket to a red one at level 6. By doing that, you can sweep up an area and make sure that there are no shrooms nearby. The first legendary item will be Hextech Rocket Belt most of the time. And then afterwards you can take something like Spirit Visage, Dusk and Dawn, Riftmaker, you know, whatever other situational item you need. But Hextech Rocket Belt will usually be the rush. You can both teamfight and side lane against Teemo, and if you do want to teamfight, make sure you purchase a control ward or at least have that red sweeper. Before an objective spawns, what Teemo will look to do is place a bunch of shrooms in that area. So you can purchase that control ward and drop it down and clear the shrooms. Or you can do the same with the red sweeper. You can even buy a control ward in lane in some situations. And you can place it on a brush and then you can see all the shrooms that are nearby. Most of the time I don't purchase a control ward, and this is because if Teemo has lane priority, he's just gonna kill the control ward that you place in a brush.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An enemy.
Here I do a really greedy purchase because I end up going for magic pen boots. Typically I don't go for these boots unless it's a super specific matchup or a super specific scenario, but I looked at my gold and I saw that I could not purchase Mercury Treads in full. The magic pen from Sorcerer's Shoes combined with my E-magic pen makes it to where Teemo has something like 20 MR to me, maybe even less. One really important thing when fighting Zaahen is to never let him stack his passive fully. The moment he gets his passive fully stacked, he gets a bunch more damage and he also gets that revive. And when he actually looks to revive, your passive will always go down unless you can hit another enemy champion. The revive timer just lasts so long that you can't actually hit him to refresh your passive. It's also worth noting that he can use his ultimate to become immune to yours, and then he won't be taken into the realm and then you're probably going to lose. One item that is really good against Zaahen in the early game is Bramble Vest. The armor combined with the heal cut and even the reflect damage is quite nice here. The item itself just feels great. And after you purchase Bramble Vest, if you want to, you can go for Plated Steel Caps and then go into your first legendary item. The combo of Bramble plus Plated is pretty good here. Most of the time you don't want to hyper long trade into Zaahen because, as I said before, if he gets his passive up, he's probably going to win. The exception is if the revive is down. If you can somehow knock down his revive early and then he stacks his passive to full, it might not matter. And this is because even when he gets his passive fully stacked and gets that bonus damage, he's probably going to be like 30% health. So because he has no revive, it doesn't really matter that he does that bonus damage, you're probably going to kill him. You also don't want to get to the hyper late game against Zaahen, and that's because he scales pretty hard. I think 1v1 wise you can still 1v1 him and beat him later on, but he's a complete menace in team fights. The way you 1v1 him on side lane is by saving your ultimate to when he gets to about 50% health. But in a team fight, if you use your ultimate super early on him to deny him stacking up his passive, it's gonna make it worse for your team. And that's because you won't deal enough damage to chunk him out of the fight, and instead he's just gonna stack up his passive on you. Your first legendary item will almost always be Riftmaker. It gives you some very nice dueling power and damage.
An ally has been slain.
This matchup is all about the parry mind games and how you dodge out her vitals. It sucks, and personally I do not like to play this matchup, but to be fair, I don't really like to play anything against Fiora, so there's that. In the early game, what you want to do is rush a Bramble Vest basically every single time. It is a very powerful component into her. It will give you that armor and heal cut. The reflect damage is also quite good. And then after Bramble Vest, what I like to do is go for Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Once I get to Rylai, I will get a really large power spike here because I will have that approach velocity speed, and it means Fiora will dash slower with her Q. Fiora's Q dash speed scales with her actual movement speed, so the slower she is, the slower that dash completes, which means you can space around her better, and that also allows you to dodge out more vital hits. When it comes to her parry, what you need to know is that she can basically always parry your Q and E. So because of that, be careful whenever you try to pull her because she might turn that pull into a stun. She can also use her parry to stop your ultimate, and that's where some mind games come in. What you can try to do is use your ultimate at an unpredictable moment. Let's say you're just starting to fight her, there's basically no way Fiora's just gonna parry outright. So because of that, you can try to instantly ulti her. It's not going to work 100% of the time, but it's better than nothing. Most Fioras don't expect you to use your ultimate until she uses her parry. So because of that, you might catch her off guard, but again, this won't always work. And you never want to get to the super late game against a Fiora because she will always kill you on side lane. A Fiora that has around 3 items can basically always 1v1 you unless you're super fed. So you want to try to abuse her in the early game, though that's also difficult because it's not like she's super weak early. Once you get the combo of Bramble Vest, Plated Steel Caps, and Rylai, that's when you want to abuse her most. This item combination allows you to beat her out pretty well. Maybe you can set up a freeze on your side of the lane and then she can't walk up the farm freely.
Double kill. Ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
This brutal world is a blessing. It calls. Have earned. Every land is mine.
The fact that she used her parry right here gives me an opening to straight up dive her if I can chunk her out fast enough. The parry has at least a 20-second cooldown by this point, so if I am able to throw out a few Qs, then I can pull her in, ulti her, and kill.
An enemy has been slain.
thank you guys for joining me in this video. I hope you found the information useful, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully very soon.
I am favored by the gods and awaited in the Hall of Bones.